Hello, welcome to Letters to My Therapist. I am Maria Antonia Alfonso.
And I'm Hilsa Fort Martinez. And today we are going to talk about money in relationships. So, our letter today is from a listener who says, "Hi, Dr. Hilsa and Dr. Maria. I am very happy in my current relationship. However, from time to time, I have been having some finance challenges with my partner. We keep our finances completely separate. But I don't agree with his spending, and it makes me wonder of the future together." So, what resonates for you so far, Maria?
Well, the topic of money definitely is very symbolic in relationships, and a lot of people make this decision of keeping finances separate. So, but this could be a potential sometimes for difficulties, for crisis, for some difference in the way that people handle the money and the
For sure.
relationship.
For sure. Money is certainly very symbolic. And always when there's a conversation, and this is one of the conversations, right, that a lot of times our friends, but definitely our clients don't really want to talk about. Okay. I really can't tell you how many couples, even people that have been married for a long time, who have never had a conversation really about what money is. And so what comes to notice here to me is this completely separate. Because like you said, while there is more of a tendency in that, there is more of a trend. I know that a lot of couples, especially a lot of younger couples, prefer to keep their finances separate. For me, there's always that question of how come? What was the thinking around that? Was that a mutual decision? Did is it just something that happened, or was it really a conversation? Or was it a method of, well,
Avoiding.
that's what I'm going to do, right? Or of control, right? So avoiding or of control. So money has so many different layers, and where it can become, as you said, challenging as well as like helpful or hurtful.
So yeah, and that would be the first thing, kind of like having clarity. That was a mutual decision. Like, did they really talk about this? But
Right.
now she's saying that she doesn't agree in the way that he expends the money.
Which the way he
So
spends money, yes.
exactly. So they are separate. Like, it's not her money. But when she look at him, she sees that the way that he's handling finances, she doesn't agree with, and then she has some concerns
Right.
about future together. Because I am assuming here that maybe she's thinking like future could be when we live together, could be when they get married, and then that could be a possibility that their finances can overlap. But now she doesn't like what he does with the
The
money.
way he's doing things. Because you're right, she does not mention, we don't know from her letter here about whether they are living together now or not. Which she just only says about how they're happy in a relationship, but we don't know whether they're living together. So what kind of future, that is a good point. Okay, so she goes on to say, "I hate talking about money. So I usually keep quiet and try to move on from the situation. But it makes me angry and upset. So I snap at him with apparently no reason."
She doesn't say that it's because of the money. She just snap at him for something else, maybe,
Right.
and he has no clue. Like, why is she mad?
Right.
That is so interesting.
So she asks, "What should I do?" But as you said, there's a lot of emotion in those three or four sentences, right? She hates talking about money. Hate is a pretty intense word, right?
Definitely.
And then it really makes her angry and upset. She's not a little bit annoyed or frustrated. She's angry and upset. So there's a lot of emotion around this. And so this is something that we really want to emphasize. The conversation about money in a relationship. Maybe it's not a first date conversation, right? But
Definitely not.
it is a conversation that needs to happen. And how I encourage people to talk about money is just to kind of ask, like, what do they know? Like, how did you grow up? What was money like? When you were a kid, how was it handled in your family? Sometimes those are ways to enter into conversations about this kind of sensitive topic, right? Where you can talk about it and hear what the other person's belief systems are, and be able to have a conversation. So, because I am kind of concerned about this, I hate talking about money. What is so intense for her with that?
Exactly. So previous experience with money,
Right.
what was going on in her family concerning money, or is that something to do with the relationship per
Right.
se? Maybe this fact that they have this arrangement is something that she's not totally happy with,
Mm-hmm.
and this is bringing some emotions. So definitely she needs to do some sort of exploration
Mm-hmm.
there. What are her beliefs,
For
and
herself,
for
right? So
herself,
her own exploration,
and
right?
she needs to know also what he believes,
Right.
because seems like the way that he handles money,
Mm-hmm.
probably that could be responding to satisfying some of the needs that she doesn't understand.
Right.
So,
And see, like you said, that she doesn't understand because, again, money has roots to it.
mhm,
Money is a conversation that has roots. So when you don't know where people's roots are, then you make assumptions. And when you make assumptions, is where we tend to get into trouble as far as having emotions. So I will give you an example of some of the symbolism around money. A Being the child of a political refugees, money was obviously scarce at first when we were coming. As my father became more comfortable and was able to redo his professional career, money became symbolic of having freedom and flexibility. So in my family, money was used for fun, for excitement, for those things. My husband comes from a family, more of a working class family. So for my husband, money is about safety and
mhm,
security. So this has been a conversation between he and I that we didn't start with having until we had one big major blowout about money. He thought I was wasting money. I thought I was spending money.
mhm.
And until I understood what it meant for him, and he understood what it meant for me, we were at odds about money. So that's a simple example. Simple meaning not very complicated. Money means safety to him, and money means flexibility
And
to
freedom.
me and
Mhm.
freedom. So it's not a complicated idea, but I didn't know, and you don't know what you don't know, but still it impacts. So the first thing that this says to me is that there's some reflecting, as you were saying, that she really needs to do, that our writer really needs to do about what did she learn about money? What were the things that were taught to her about money? And then of course there's what you're saying. What's happened in their relationship?
Yes. And it's interesting to me that the way to cope with this, she's saying, I just remove myself from the situation. I don't face it. I don't go directly. I
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about it because she has her own emotional charge
Mm-hmm.
around the topic. But then the avoidance is creating another conflict,
Right.
because then the partner doesn't know really why is what she's really mad about.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, we are inviting to conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We need communication around the topic of money, exploration, knowing your values, knowing your beliefs, knowing your rules, everything that is around the money. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to continue avoiding this topic if you really want your relationship to grow.
If you want a future.
If you want a future
Right.
together,
Uh-huh.
this is a topic that you need to talk about, definitely. And the other thing that is very helpful with couples, because people can make some sort of arrangements. People can say, we're going to keep it separate,
Right.
or we're going to
You
do
pay half, I pay
pay
half,
half,
right?
you can do portions, whatever arrangement the couple can make, but definitely it has to be some sort of budgeting. People need to have their needs satisfied. If somebody needs to feel in control, if somebody needs to feel free, whatever arrangement, whatever budget has to have a room for that. We don't want to
Mhm.
confuse people with the extreme that uh, somebody has to control the other person's
Mhm.
finances,
Right.
because sometimes money can be a tool to control people. Financial control is one of the indicators of abuse in relationships.
Absolutely.
So we need to make sure that that doesn't happen, that money is not used to control, but that will be probably the reason why some people make this decision of having separate finances. But what we need to be careful is that we don't go to the other extreme,
Mhm.
that then you don't have any influence at all. And that is a topic that is totally avoided.
Absolutely. And so people will say to us, I don't know how to bring this up. Or as our writer says, I really hate to talk about this. And I think that it becomes important, as we were saying before, this conversation can be brought up in talking about families. It can be brought up in talking about how your friends handle money. It can be brought up in goal setting, right? What are your dreams? What is it that you're wanting in your life? What would you like to be able to accomplish? And then we talk about how we would accomplish that, like a budget, as you were saying. Should we start to budget money towards that? And so there are many ways to bring up the topic of money, in ways that can be, very much about collaboration, about creating relationship instead of creating distance. I think that the bottom line that we're trying to say is that the avoidance here that we're hearing is, a foundational situation, right? The communication that needs to happen at different levels. Money is one topic. What other topics might you not be discussing? And then when we don't talk about things, we create assumptions. And when we create assumptions, we leave ourselves way open for misunderstandings and miscommunications. And before you know it, then you're in real conflict.
Yes, and the importance of having a vision for the relationship. Sometimes couples don't talk about future because they are afraid that I don't want to tell you that I want to create a future with you if you don't tell me,
Right.
and I don't want to make assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
But really, really, we have to put difficult topics in the
Mm-hmm.
table.
Right.
And if your partner doesn't respond well when you talk about future, probably that's not going to be the right partner anyway. For you
Right.
avoiding talking about things that could smell commitment,
Mm-hmm.
because you are afraid that if you do that, your partner maybe want to walk away, or maybe it's going to question, or maybe it's going to say that you pressure, you making, you're putting pressure on them to go to the next step. That's not going to be the right person
Right.
anyway. So
Right.
the invitation is that let's just put difficult subjects on the table, and then the relationship can definitely grow a little bit better.
Agreed. I think that money is one of them, right? Couples come to us for a lot of different kinds of conversations: money, sex, children, extended families. Those are the many times the topics that people bring to us. But at the end of the day, the biggest recommendation here is that get clear on what your own ideas are about money, what money means to you, so that then you are able to initiate these hard conversations that we're talking about, because without them you really aren't going to have the path, right, the clarity in the path in order to create a relationship that is going to be long lasting and satisfying.
Yeah, and the issue of like the snapping
Mm-hmm.
at somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we think that if we have a strong reaction, the
Mm-hmm.
person is gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
People don't get.
Yeah.
Usually, people will get critical of you,
Mm-hmm.
and because there is no clear message there.
Right.
So when you don't like something, it will be important to spell it out. You say exactly what is it what
Right.
you are uncomfortable
Right.
about, and what is it what you don't like.
And if you struggle with this is where some professional help can be beneficial. If you struggle with being able to express yourself clearly and openly, if you have concerns about sharing some of these tough subjects with your partner, this is where some professional guidance can be helpful, because somebody like Maria or myself can facilitate that conversation, help you go down the paths towards it, and be able to then help you to clarify, is this the relationship that fits for both of us?
Here's one thing that I would like to kind of like emphasize, because in this spectrum, people can be in the extreme with finances, in the extreme of the control.
Mm-hmm.
And then this could be this other extreme of total independence, and I don't tell you anything. So
Mm-hmm.
I know about couples that they don't even know how much money the partner make.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know if the partner has one or two or three bank accounts.
Right.
They don't know details that could be important and could be
Mm-hmm.
relevant. So
Right.
that would be kind of like the other extreme. So the ideal situation will be some level of interdependency where you still have your autonomy, nobody controls you, but there is a level of communication, there is a level of agreement, there is a
And of commitment, as you were saying. You
commitment.
know, when the saying is, show me the money or put your money where your mouth is, what we're talking about is really having a level of commitment, of engagement into the relationship. I agree, and I think it needs to be a balanced one. But I think both ends of the continuum, as you're saying, too much independence or too much, enmeshment. I think both ends are not healthy in a relationship. Yes.
Yes.
Well, so these are some of the recommendations we have for you. As you're hearing, primarily what we're saying to you is get clear on what's important to you and what your own feelings are about money, so that then you can step into a very intentional conversation with your partner. So we hope that these ideas and suggestions help, and we hope that you will join us for our next episode, where we're going to discuss how to overcome a negative mindset after a breakup. We look forward to joining you.